What's up and welcome back to Slightly Less Than Perfect. I'm Mark the Dad 2 times. I know why you're here because you read the title, but you know why I'm here? I'm here because my brother's been in a coma for a couple weeks and it's a tough time dealing with sometimes. But one thing we used to bond over is sharing crazy theories about different animes and mangas that we're into. So I'm going to share them with you so he has something to watch when he comes back. So with that being said, we're going to talk about Mihawk's entire story arc, right? So you got to bear with me on this. His name, spoilers all over the fucking place, is Nerona Mihawk. And I'm not even being a joke about this. This is why, because the title of World's Greatest Swordsman isn't something you earn. It is a title that is handed to you when you carry the Nerona name. And that's part of why Mihawk is so butthurt. Because he physically is the strongest swordsman, but he didn't earn it. And that hurts him because he has that pride in him. You know what I mean? And that's going to bring us later down the line when we get to Zoro, because that mentality. Zoro wants the title. He wants to take Mihawk's title. And that's the reason he's so interested in Zoro, because no one else has challenged him to the title and he doesn't feel he's earned it. So he needs someone to challenge him so that he can prove to himself that he is the world's greatest swordsman. So with that being said, Nerona Mihawk is a new theory, not a new theory. It's been up there and out there for a long time now, but everybody's been digging on it more because of the latest chapter when he used the same attack. Imu used the same attack that on Loki that Mihawk did on Zoro way back when. Also, Mihawk's line about hunting rabbits, that's very specific after the God Valley incident and everything that happened with there. But I think I got a pretty good layout of Mihawk's early history, what he's going through now, where he's going, and where we're going to end up. So if you're into it, follow along. So this is what we're going to do. Early Mihawk. Mihawk sees Imu and sees Imu's power when he's bestowed the name. I don't know if it's from his dad, granddad, or if it's directly from Imu himself. When he got the world's greatest swordsman title, he saw the demonicness. He saw what Imu was, and he understood. He understood that. And I think part of that is because I don't want to say Mihawk's a holy knight or whatever, but he's got to at least have a covenant. He knows enough to know that what that power is. He's like, I guess the way I can explain it is like when you get into the NBA, but then you see superstars in the NBA, you're like, I'm here, but them, they up there. And I think it's like that. Like Mihawk was strong, but he saw the strongest. And so given the title of the strongest, it's never really set right with him because he still had his pride. I think he had his pride as like his personal, like who he is as a person, his pride, and his like world noble heritage kind of pride. And so this is what I think early life looked like, right? He's the world's greatest swordsman. But we also know the Nerona family and the Figureland families had beef. They got beef. Figureland Garland is going to be, he's trying to usurp Imu. That is the writing on the walls. That's the story that's being told. Like, argue with your mama. That just is what it is. So I think the Nerona family and the Figureland family has been at beef forever. Either back in the day, the Figureland family was on the Nerona and the Nerona usurped them, or the Figureland's always been salty about the Neronas and they trying to get back. But either way you look at it, the Figurelands are going after the Neronas, and that's just the basis of this storyline. So Shanks is gone, right? We know Shanks is on the sea with Roger or whatever. So Garland has his only son, Shamrock. Shamrock and Mihawk are the talk of the town, right? World Nova was talking about them. Oh, they're the best. You know how every other shojo anime starts. You got the two sexy men in school that good at everything, do everything the best, are the best dudes ever. That's Shamrock and Mihawk. Look at them. They both pretty boys that got sword swag, right? So they got all the girls love them, all the boys jealous of them. That just is what it is. They always fought to a draw. But the caveat is they fought to a draw. Shamrock was trying, not everything, but he was trying to win, but Mihawk wasn't trying. And that's the part. He did, because he has the title of world's greatest swordsman, or his family lineage has the title of world's greatest swordsman. So he's like, yeah, whatever, man. I do the duels or whatever. They in Holy Knight School or whatever. It is what it is, right? They duking it out every day. They're equals. They're 1 and 2. They're going back and forth for everything. Either they always tied or it's an equal. 5 wins, 5 losses type thing. Like it's completely equal. Why? Because Oda always does that with his opposites. Dorian Bragi, Zoro, and Sanji, equals. Everyone's equal. So let's not penny pinch that or whatever that looks like. But when Shanks comes back to the Holy Land, Mihawk doesn't fight Shanks. Shanks fights Shamrock. Because Garland wants to see what the Blue Sea difference is and what the Holy Land is. And Shank dog walks Shamrock. Dog walks him. Like, I shouldn't say dog walk. It's probably a close fight, but they realize at the end of it that Shanks wasn't really trying, but Shamrock was trying. And that pisses Mihawk the fuck off. Because he's like, hold on. What you telling me? You told me our family lineage, the Neronas, are the world's greatest swordsmen. I've been dog walking everybody since I've been in diapers, and you telling me this clown just comes up from the Blue Sea and he can just do this? Nah. I'm not feeling that. He walks up to Shank and say, run the ones with him. And Shanks is Shanks. He's like, nah, I don't really got no reason to fight you. He's like, I only did that because my dad wanted to see how strong my brother was. Like, I don't really got a beef with you, bro. That's just not how I roll. That's not what my true pops would say. You know what I mean? We don't just fight people just to fight people. You know what I mean? That's not worth it. Why is Shanks like this? Because Roger was like this. He taught Luffy to be like this. Do I think he was a little more hot-headed than he is now? Yeah, but I still think he was still Shanks at this age. You know what I mean? I still think he got the beginning of this or whatever. So this happens or whatever. This goes on for a while. The whole time Shanks is up there. Mihawk is trying to run the ones with him. And Shanks just ducking and dodging the fade. Not because he can't do it. It's just like, he's like, what's the point? He's like, I don't really got beef with you, and I don't really run the phase with people I don't got beef with. So the Fisher Tiger incident, all that stuff happens, whatever. Shamrock and Mihawk help Shanks. Because all this time, we know for a fact that Fisher Tiger couldn't do that shit solo. It was not going to be a one-man type deal to make a revolution. The storybooks say that, and they say that because they wanted to look like that. They can't, the Holy Knights can't say that like 3 or more of our Holy Knights helped all the slaves escape. That's a crazy headline. So you just say this one crazy, super strong, genetic freak fishman did it by himself, and that sells a better story because it only looks like one person came in and did something instead of like some of the collective going against you, because you can't have that optics, right? So after that, only reason Mihawk helps is because Shanks says, if you help me do this, I will give you the fight you want, but you gotta find me on the Blue Sea. Mihawk says, bet. A gentleman's bet, so to speak, but in noble speak. So after everything dies down, Shanks disappeared. Elders, everybody mad. Big fucking mad. And gotta take care of this. He's like, Garland, you gotta do something about your son. And he was like, well, I don't want to, Garland is a tactical genius, right? He knows the beef his son has with Mihawk, right? He don't know about the actual like bet they had, but he knows that it's something between them, right? So he's not going to send his other son down to the Blue Sea because Garland is, I got one that fucked up and left. I can't have two. I can't have two of them doing that. Nah. But I know he got smoked with my son. So, hey, elders, why don't you tell the world's greatest swordsman to go catch my son and bring him back? If he is the world's greatest swordsman at all, you know what I'm saying? If you really are, Mihawk. And Mihawk takes the challenge because he's like, fuck you, old man. But you're right. I do want that smoke. So he volunteers. In the Neronas, you can't decline this. You can't. As the world's strongest swordsman lineage, you cannot deny the smoke. So what do? He goes down to the Blue Sea. But we all know the story from here. When he gets down to the Blue Sea, Shanks gave his arm away. Shanks is a two-handed swordsman, which we found out. And Mihawk is butthurt. This is the blue balls of a lifetime. He came all the way. He waited years for the smoke. Years. Helped with a coup of his own country for the smoke. And then he comes out here and gets blue ball? That's why Don Krieg got the smoke from that. That's why Don Krieg got that smoke. That smoke wasn't meant for him. That smoke was meant for Shanks. And that fight with Zoro, that was leftover smoke he had for Shanks. Because remember, the last thing that Shanks said to Mihawk was like, hey, my boy Luffy, he's special. So when you see him, respect a baby bro, okay? He a little nigga right now, but respect him. So when he find all the smoke, he chased Don Krieg down. He get to this random ass restaurant in the middle of who knows and whatever sea, because he just on his little coffin trolling. Out of all the people to see, Monkey D. Luffy. And who do you got with you? Oh, Oh, someone that's gonna be the world's greatest swordsman, huh? Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like the sound of that. He's like, so that's why Mihawk put the pause on Zoro, because that was the closest beef he can get to Shanks. That's the closest he can get to Shanks, because Luffy is Shanks' protege and Zoro is Luffy's right hand. And he's like, somebody got to get this smoke. And if it's going to be you, it's going to be you. And then when Zoro took all that smoke he had and got back up and said, I never lose again, Mihawk was like, oh, I like this one. He's like, he might actually, nah, he can't do that, right? Is he going to be him? I see what you did, Shanks. I'm going to do it too. Hey, you. Come find me when you get a little bit stronger. I like your spunk. Come see me in a little bit, all right? Fast forward. We go to Marineford, right? Mihawk sees Luffy. You dangerous. Everyone thought he was talking about Luffy's ability to bring people to his side, like the compassion, the love, the strength that Luffy saw. No. Mihawk saw something deeper. Mihawk saw the fear that he had when he met whoever gave him his Nerona name. Whoever he saw in his flashback, whenever we get to that, that's what he saw in Luffy in that moment. That's what he saw in Luffy that scared him. Because in that moment, Mihawk was different. He was a little different in that panel. You know what I mean? He wasn't regular confident Mihawk. He was shaking just a little bit. But I mean, like, if you saw literal God in front of you, I mean, what would you be like? You know what I mean? I might shit myself a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You might too. Okay? So then we're gonna fast forward a little bit longer. Zoro walks back up to him. He's like, hey, I know you know what happened. I'm too weak. I need to get stronger. I need you to get me stronger. And Mihawk's like, we know how that went down. Mihawk was kind of salty about it by first, because he's like, why am I training you when you're trying to kill me? And he was just like, I'm still gonna kill you regardless if you train me or not. I'm gonna find out a way. I figured I'd come to the person to make it the quickest way. And Mihawk was like, oh, I like that. Oh, you said you was gonna get stronger than me regardless? Oh, I like that. Yeah, I train you. Kill the monkeys first. Just take them all out. You know what I mean? Comes back. And this is where, follow me for a minute. Zoro and Mihawk, after he learns how to coat his hockey and everything, after he does the first preliminary things that Mihawk wants him to do, Mihawk discloses all of this shit to Zoro. And why do I think he did that? Because remember when Zoro was fighting S-Hawk and all of them, and he just forgot that he just beat the shit out of Lunarian like 12 minutes ago? And he didn't say anything? Is it because it didn't, because he was in the love of the game at the moment. He was just going off pure adrenaline. He was going off that animosity. He was going off that demon time. You know what I mean? That's just what he was doing. So he didn't really know what was going on. And I think in this moment, him and Mihawk was drinking. And Mihawk explained to him about like the lineage of the Neronas and like the strongest and like how they're demonic and everything. Because I think this is why Zoro double, triple, quadruple, bajillion down on his demonic stuff. I mean, we always knew it was kind of going there in a sense, you know what I mean? But it's not, it was, you know what I mean? We saw it. It was there. It was going there. But I think this is what, story-wise, internally for Zoro, made him double down on it. Because he told him the eyes. Mihawk's eyes, Nerona's eyes, Luffy's eyes, Unesh's eyes, those eyes. Mihawk told Zoro that those eyes are what there's to be feared. Those eyes are something special. Those eyes are different. And you need two of them. Because everybody else that got the eyes got two eyes. Zoro said, fuck you and fuck that. I'm myself. He's like, I said I will beat you my way because that's who I am. And if you say I need two eyes to do it, we're not waiting for a power-up for Zoro's eye. Nothing's in Zoro's eye. Nothing's wrong with Zoro. I mean, it's cut. It is cut. Zoro did that to himself as an F you to Mihawk, because Mihawk said to be the strongest swordsman, you need to be like me. No matter what you do, you're not going to be like me. And Zoro tripled down for the third time, told him, I don't care what you got to say, old man. I will give you the smoke one day. I don't have it right now. I can admit that. But I will give you the smoke because that's what I'm living for. Myself and one of my best friends in the world said we would be the greatest. And if you are a stepping stone to that, so be it. So be it. We're going to fast forward a little bit longer. we're gonna go to where it branched off between. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Zoro's backstory, and then we're gonna go Zoro's second-ish backstory thing that we're gonna do, and then we're gonna go into Mihawk's. So Mihawk's, the joke about Mihawk's being he doesn't have Conqueror's Haki, right? He has Conqueror's Haki. He has probably the best Conqueror's Haki you will ever see. But why doesn't he use it? His mentals. He doesn't have a reason to use it. He already has the moniker at the world's strongest. He can cut meteors with ease, cut them into 1 trillion pieces. He can do everything with his sword with ease. Nothing pushes him. What does he need to conquer? I would equate it to Zuko when he went from being Fire Nation loyal to trying to join Team Avatar. He couldn't firebend because he forgot that rage, that anger, that hatred. He didn't have that no more. It was getting replaced with love, compassion, like all these beautiful things, but he didn't know what those were because he never felt those emotions. We thought he didn't, but when Uncle Iroh and Aang showed him that, like, you always felt these things. You always had them. That's why you always been like this. You know what I mean? That's why you always been kind of wishy-washy anyway. And I think Mihawk's going through something similar. Not the same type of emotion, but the general sense. Like, his Conquer Haki is closed off to him because he has nothing to conquer. And I think that's when Zoro's going to be like, listen here, Unc. If you don't use everything on me, you will be nothing to me. And that's going to be like, Mihawk's going to be like, all right, I'm going to dig in my bag. And we're going to get to a sad Mihawk backstory. This is when we're going to find all this stuff out. All this craziness that I'm talking. We're going to find all this stuff out in this Mihawk backstory when Zoro and Mihawk finally fight. And Zoro's going to have to beat Mihawk at his best for both of their stories to be done. Because Mihawk needs to fight someone to either beat them at his strongest, to be considered the world's strongest, or lose and understand what the meaning of being the strongest is. And then on the other side of that, Zoro, I think Zoro made a deal with death in that moment in Wano. I think Zoro told Death, looked Death straight in the face and said, you can have my soul when I die. When I lose. He said, when I lose. You can have my soul when I lose. He promised, remember this, he promised Luffy that he would never lose again. So that means that, like, you can't die. You cannot die. That is a promise he made to himself. And Zoro takes that with his very soul in mind. Zoro made a literal deal with Death and told him, you can have my soul when I lose again. Zoro's not going to lose again. He made that promise to Luffy. He's not losing again. And by losing in Zoro's eyes is like actual death. Like him and Luffy, like losing to them means death. Like when someone actually kills you and you can't do anything about it. I think that him and Enma alone fought against Death. And that's going to be part of Zoro's double backstory. Zoro's little double backstory is going to be him dealing with Death, telling Death to fuck off, and using Enma to literally defeat Death because he was, I mean, we can say King killed him. I mean, Luffy died against Kaido. So, I mean, like, it's fair to say that, like, King could have killed Zoro. I mean, it makes sense. He saw death. You know what I mean? If he wasn't dead, he was at least, you know, right on the line. You know what I mean? So, in that moment, Zoro was like, yeah, all right, Death. Run the ones. Death's like, what? What do you mean run the ones? I'm Death, bro. He's like, yeah. And Luffy said, I cannot lose again. So, since Luffy said that, I don't know who the fuck you think you are, but run the ones. And Death was like, oh, I liked you. I like you. I'm going to send you back. You know, we don't even need to run the ones. I'm going to send you back because I'm interested. I want to see where this goes. And I think that's going to be a plot line. Death, like, Zoro and Death are going to be like this. We're going to see more of that demonic nature comes out. It's going to be because of that. Because remember when he looked into S-Snake's eyes, and the animators did a beautiful job on this. He looked into S-Snake's eyes and he said, S-Hawk's eyes and said, you have more humanity than him. What? My man's was an android made from nothing, no human part. There's nothing about him that is human, my boy. Nothing. There's no DNA in that man at all that's human. What do you mean he looks more human than Mihawk? What do you know? Zoro saw this shit already. Zoro has seen Death and told him to F off. He saw Mihawk, told him to F off 3 times. Nothing happened. And that's how Mihawk and Zoro's story ends. Zoro beats Mihawk, and that story comes to a complete. Old samurai duel, you know what I mean? Like two samurais, two different types of Bushido, two different lifestyles. Like, that's what it is. I mean, plus you got Christianity versus Buddhism, bro. Like, my opinion, I mean, think I want Buddhism to win, you know what I mean? Just saying. So, I'm just saying. Thoughts?